live or even seen any of this on YouTube? And if so, do you know anything about it? Well, if not, today's your lucky day because I, Annica Asha, am going to be telling you all about the violin. Becoming popular in the 16th century with both commoners and nobles, the violin has remained a democratic instrument, universal and versatile. Most historians agree that today's violin emerged in the early 16th century in northern Italy, an area which would maintain the violin making tradition over the coming centuries. Maple and spruce, the two types of wood most favored by violin makers then and since, were readily available in the Lombardy region. The city of Brescia, located at the foot of the Alps, was the earliest to excel in the crafting of violins, but Cremona, home to the world's most famous luthiers/violin makers, Giuseppe Guarneri, Antonio Stradivari, and the Amati family, became synonymous with the art of violin making. Okay, so now to a little story time of the origins of the violin. In the early 1560s, Catherine de Medici, the French Queen Regent, commissioned Amati to make a variety of string instruments for the royal ensemble. How many Amati made and delivered remains unknown, but it is thought that the scale of work required ultimately established the basic form and construction of the modern violin. Amati's workshop was a family venture as he shared the secrets with his craft with his two sons, Girolamo and Antonio. The dynasty extended to a third generation with Girolamo's son, Niccolo, who became the maestro to two of the most celebrated violin makers, Andrea Guarneri and Antonio Stradivari. Now let's take a look at the evolution of the violin. The violin's sound continued to expand through the centuries, embraced by fiddlers and virtuosos alike. Now, during the 17th century, the violin became an important instrument in the orchestra when composers like Claudio Monteverdi incorporated it into their compositions. Now, composers and musicians such as Antonio Vivaldi, Franz Joseph Haydn, and Niccolo Paganini, aka the Devil's Violinist, interesting isn't it, continued to focus on the sounds of the strings, and essentially they brought it to greater prominence in the orchestra. Now, because of this, the modifications had to be made. It was too difficult to play. So, for example, around 1786, Francois Todt created the modern bow, standardizing its length and weight. Others included the chin rest, neck, and fingerboard.
Let's look at this diagram of the violin. So as you can see, we've got the tuning pegs and the scroll, and that's where you tune your violin. Moving on to the main body, the chin rest is where we put our chin, and the F-holes is what gives this beautiful instrument its signature look. This picture shows the evolution of the original instrument to the ones that we know of today, as well as the evolution of the F-hole.
To put it in Malaysian terms, the bow of the violin is like the sambal to our nasi lemak. It gives us different textured sounds depending on the technique used, just like how sambal flavors our rice. The bow is a lightweight yet powerful tool. Now the bow hair is made of a hank of horsehair, and a single violin bow will use between 160 and 180 individual hairs, and these hairs are all attached and stringed next to each other to form a ribbon. Unusually thick hairs and kinked hairs are removed so that only straight hairs are used. How high can the price of one violin go? Well, there's no limit. Despite the Amati family being the world's first violin makers, many of the violins that dominate the world's most expensive list are Stradivari and Guarneri instruments. High wood quality, unique designs, pleasant tones, varnish, finishes, and the fame of being played by the most celebrated violinists in the world are the factors playing into this.
Some of the world's most expensive violins to exist include the Messiah Stradivarius, which came to about 20 million, the Wilhelms Guarneri, 16 million, Lady Blunt almost 16 million as well, the Cardus Guarneri, 10 million, ex-Kochanski Guarneri also 10 million, and a Mary Portman all 10 million.
The music world is constantly evolving, and with that, so does the violin. Although the structure remains intact, what I mean to say is, from what was once a stubby wooden instrument that was only popular to a few, it has now grown to prove its versatility in the most interesting and beautiful melodies. Now you can play in so many genres throughout different avenues with it, ranging from classical, art rock, electric versions, Indian Carnatic music, country fiddle style, and so much more. If you don't believe me, you can check out songs from prominent artists such as Sunday Bloody Sunday by U2, Hurricane by Bob Dylan, Gumbo Variations by Frank Zappa, and Sugarcane Harris, and Wish You Were Here by Pink Floyd. Or you can even check out famous violinists like Hilary Hahn, Ray Chen, Chloe Tra, and Itzhak Perlman. As a violinist myself, they have been my inspiration and I'm truly in awe of them. When I was small, I used to watch their YouTube videos and I would be so inspired to practice and play like them. And I have no doubt that if you do the same thing, you'll be so impressed of the violin and its versatility.
If you want to learn more about the violin and classical music in general, I highly suggest that you check out this YouTube channel called Two Set Violin. These two dudes talk everything about violin, classical music. They're relatable, they're funny, and you learn so much. At the sides are also the violinists and the songs that I mentioned previously, and you can go and check them out on YouTube. Well, that's all from me. I hope you guys enjoyed the video and managed to learn something as well. Thank you!